when we discussed it briefly that she was dumbfounded yesterday after hearing Bill O'Brien speak. And I would agree. My jaw dropped, and it wasn't to insert more warm seafood, Curtis. Bill O'Brien was asked yesterday on if he could make the call when it came to sitting Mac Jones on Sunday. And his answer, I think, was telling. If we have that, Shime, let's listen to that now.
I don't make those calls. I don't think there's a chain of command, Karen. There's a chain of command. The chain of command is Mr. Kraft at the top, right? Then it's Bill Belichick, and then I would say the assistant coaches are somewhere down in here.
Right.
So in that chain of command, do we have within that chain of command, especially on the coaching staff, do we have a lot of discussions? Yeah, I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Like, those are discussions that are very private.
Bill literally told us on Monday when I believe it was Greg that brought up, or maybe Curtis, when did the team know? Because Hunter Henry said that he found out the day of, and he said, well, that's Bill O'Brien tells them.
That's Bill O'Brien telling them. That's what Bill's saying.
But it's kind of giving it a little bit. He was, I think, pushing a little bit of the blame onto Bill O'Brien for the whole kerfuffle.
Well, the kerfuffle, you're talking about the Hunter Henry kerfuffle.
Right. But
that's not what this is about.
I know. It's who chooses who the quarterback is.
What is telling to me and what is of interest is that when it comes to whether or not Mac Jones can be sat, who's going to be your starting quarterback, the chain of command starts with Robert Kraft.
Yep.
And this is and this is also
I've been saying it.
This is back to Bill Belichick doesn't think there's a difference really between the two. And he doesn't think it's that important. So that's why the communication of who's starting has been sort of not an attention to detail focus by Bill Belichick. He doesn't really give a damn. Who knows?
But you keep blaming Bill. Stop it. Bill might go, I want to sit Mac, and Robert goes, no.
Yeah.
Curtis,
So
you want to blame Bill for
We just established that Bill Belichick wants to get fired, right?
I think.
That was your lead.
That was my lead.
So if he wants to get fired,
no, but that's Greg's lead. Okay. We didn't establish that. That was Greg's lead.
Okay, I'm saying if he wants to get fired, why would he do what Robert Kraft wants?
I don't believe he wants to get fired. That's Greg's lead.
So who does Robert Kraft want to start at quarterback?
Mac Jones.
And Bill Belichick is starting him.
Yes.
Okay, so they're getting along.
That's the chain of command.
No, so you think they're getting along?
No, I think that's the chain of command. If Greg says, we're talking about this at 7 o'clock a.m., and I go, well, you know what? I'd rather talk about this. And Greg goes, no, we're talking about this. Guess what? Chain of command. We're talking about what Greg wants.
Food, most likely.
Right. And I got no issues with that. But if it was
onion soup, to be exact.
But if it was something I didn't want to talk about. But the point is, it starts to show how this process works.
I mean, is that not bothersome to anybody?
Yeah.
That if the indication is that Robert Kraft is involving himself in day-to-day decisions, like whether or not Mac Jones is going to be the starter or not, is that not an issue? I mean, that's Jerry Jones-like.
But doesn't this just feel like pushback from O'Brien? Like, it feels to me like O'Brien and Mac are on one side, or even they might even be separate sides, and then Bill is completely on an island by himself, because it feels like Bill O'Brien is directly responding to Belichick's answer to Curtis on this program on Monday when Curtis was pushing him about Hunter Henry not knowing who the starting quarterback was, and Belichick said, well, O'Brien talks to the offensive players.
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it feels like it is in direct response to that. Like, he throws out the chain of command, but it feels like it is in direct response to Bill Belichick.
Thank you.
But how much do you think Bill Belichick, with the addition of Billy O'Brien, is inserting himself now on the offensive end like he did last year? Or did he kind of remove himself?
Well, don't we believe that Robert Kraft was the reason why we took Mac Jones in the first place?
Yeah, no,
so that's not that surprising.
No,
to
but
me.
I'm just saying, in the past, right, it seemed like when Josh McDaniels was running the offense, or Billy O, Bill Belichick was saying, okay, fill me in on big picture stuff, but I don't need to be filled on the day-to-day because I'm going to go down here and focus more on the defense.
What I think is happening, and Courtney said it well, and Scheim didn't repeat it, but followed it up well. There is a chasm between Belichick and O'Brien that didn't exist with Patricia and Belichick.
And why is that?
Because Bill O'Brien was hired by Robert Kraft.
Bingo.
And it was announced. So the Patriots, as far as I can tell, didn't announce that Matt Patricia was fired at any point, correct?
No. Just went to the Eagles.
Right. So before any announcement was made about the future of Matt Patricia, there were the dueling press releases by Robert Kraft when Bill Belichick was in New Orleans, if I'm following the chronology correctly. So that's why when Bill O'Brien is asked, he says Kraft first because he's indebted to Kraft.
Kraft's making the decisions.
I don't know. All due respect to Courtney and you and Scheim, I think it is wild that Bill O'Brien is asked about whether or not he can sit Mac Jones, and his answer is, on that particular decision, there's a hierarchy,
right?
And it starts with Robert Kraft. That, to me, is wild.
Right.
But the most wild outcome is that Mac Jones is starting on Sunday. I will bring everybody back to the debacle in Dallas, when Mac seemingly was throwing the ball intentionally to Cowboys players who felt bad and dropped it. That game followed up by a shutout at Gillette Stadium against a Saints team that sucks. And we're sitting here now when Mac's play has somehow devolved from that point to where they are, where he is the worst player starting in the NFL at that position, and he's starting again. How?
Because Robert is saying, we're going with Mac, and Mac is the best option for us to win football games. And Bill maybe saying, Bill goes, well, we could probably go in this direction, Robert. And Robert's like, no, we drafted Mac. He's our starting quarterback. Okay.
I'm prone to hyperbole, and I know that. But in my entire life of watching sports teams here, and it's the one thing I love the most outside of, my family, watching the teams around here, I have never seen something like this. Ever. I can't think of anything that's a close second.
You mean from a dysfunctional relationship perspective?
It would be like, the Red Sox getting a closer, having him give up a walk-off home run 10 games in a row, and Grady Little saying, nope, he's still a closer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a guy it's a quarterback who you have sat for 4 of the 12 games that he's played in.
Right. You benched him.
I mean,
what's that tell you about the backup? It's not that difficult.
4 of the 11, whatever the number is.
Right, but it's not that difficult to see it. I mean, I don't know why you guys don't get it. They're telling you that Mac Jones gives us the best chance at winning.
But, if that's
Hands
the case,
down.
then you need to go and make a move for a quarterback. They should have done that at the trade deadline.
Right. Who?
Wiggy, I told
Austin
you.
Burton.
You could have gotten in Josh Dobbs. You could get
Josh
anybody.
Dobbs had one lightning in a bottle for one game.
Minnesota's in playoff position, Wiggy.
But they don't feel like they weren't going to give up anything for Josh Dobbs. They feel like Mac Jones is the best option. People are like, go sign Joe Flacco.
Wait, so what is it? That Mac Jones is the best option, or that Robert Kraft is forcing Bill Belichick to go with Mac Jones?
I think it's a combination of Robert forcing it and them looking and going, Mac's probably the best option.
But if Bill Belichick is angry at Robert Kraft, which you believe, right, Wiggy?
Is he angry at Robert? I think he's a little bit disappointed.
So from what you know of Bill Belichick, an owner telling him what to do would just make him a little bit disappointed?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's upset, so yeah.
Okay, so then if all things are equal, why wouldn't Bailey Zappi start? There's not this huge difference.
Bill still wants to win, and in Bill's mind, if it's coming down to Bill, in Bill's mind, Mac is much better than Zappi.
Then why has he sat him 4 times?
He's benched him.
And why did he?
In the moment of the game,
Not
in the moment of the game,
yeah, he sat him. He
benched him throughout during the game.
If he thinks that that's the quarterback that gives you the best chance to win,
right?
Why are you sitting him?
Because you're looking for something.
In a game like Sunday where you're in the game,
you're looking for something to maybe give you a spark.
4 times?
Yeah,
but no, great.
That's the bottom line.
The question here to Wiggy is why, if Mac is the better quarterback, would you bring in a guy cold as ice for the most important drive of the game your owner was most invested in winning against the Colts?
Because you feel like maybe this guy can give us the spark that we need to win this football game.
No, or you're trying to get fired. This is
You
Dave.
really think Bill's trying to get fired?
I
Stop
think
it.
I think maybe he is.
No.
Hello, Dave.
Hey, happy holidays, everyone.
You too, Dave.
Two observations. One, this is why Belichick never gives the media any answer of any sort of substance, because any time a player or a coach of his gives any sort of substance, the speculation runs wild and it creates a narrative that just doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, keep in mind, Bailey Zappi was on a rookie minimum contract, got cut in the preseason, so literally was free, and not a single NFL team picked him up. So I think what's happening is they're playing Mac because if you think, 5 years down the road, Zappi stands just around a 0% chance of being an NFL quarterback. Mac Jones has a small one based on what we've seen so far. So they're either trying to keep some sort of value for him via trade. Maybe they can get a 5th-round pick or something like that. Or they think somehow we can turn it around. But it's all a game of chance that Belichick is playing.
If you wanted to maintain value in Mac Jones, you wouldn't play him. I mean, his value drops.
I don't think it's
every
about
time.
value.
Every
Well, you
time.
should have traded him.
But I
3
think
weeks ago.
it's no different than the whole Cam situation. They feel like Mac gives them, and this is the side of the island I would agree with Gresham. You cut Zappi for the rest of the league to have.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody wanted him.
That's not the argument. The argument is not that Mac is I think physically and skill wise a better quarterback than Bailey Zappi. He's also had way more reps than him.
All right, so there you go.
He's played in more NFL
So
games.
you answered your own question
But
on why Mac's starting.
But again,
So why do we keep having this conversation?
Because I wouldn't. If I were Bill Belichick, you've sat a guy 4 times.
Yep.
You've destroyed him, confidence wise and mentally. I wouldn't want him in the football game. Bailey Zappi with less talent is better in the football game because at least he hasn't been destroyed mentally. That's what I'm talking about.
And just to clarify for Dave, Bill Belichick gives you information when it benefits his side. When he was attacked at the conclusion of last season about the team's free agent failures, he immediately had top of mind that they averaged 27th in cash spending over the prior 3 years. And he's the first to volunteer to Greg, without a lot of pressing, not like any of us can, that it's a collaborative approach that they took with the Mac Jones draft pick. He hasn't. I went back and listened to his comments about prior draft picks. He never says that.
So, Greg, do you believe Bill wants to sit him, but Kraft's not allowing him to do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
I get on that.
Wiggy, look at the
I do.
Jets.
I get on that train
The Jets
with you.
were in the exact same situation. Zach Wilson is way more talented than Tim Boyle. But you know what they did? They made the change and went to the worst guy because they knew what they had with Zach Wilson was over.
Yeah,
It was
but they don't
done
have an owner that's involved in it like
with. No,
Robin.
I understand. I'm saying.
All right. That was wild to me yesterday, that comment from Bill O'Brien.